G'day YouTube, welcome to this Let's Play of This War of Mine. For those who don't know, it's a bit of a different title. You play as a group of civilians during a war, and the idea is that you've got this group of people who've banded together and they're living in this house, which is a bit of a ruin really, and you've got to try and help them survive the war that's going on outside. Now during the day they can't go out because there's snipers that would shoot them, and so you spend your days crafting and upgrading your house, and at night you pick someone to go out and salvage stuff in a separate part of the game from various different locations around the ruined town. So the game's completely random each time as to who you get, so let's have a look. So we've got in the bottom right down here the cards of the characters. So we've got Arica, who sneaks quietly. There she is there. We've got Roman, who's trained in combat, so must be an ex-soldier. And Bruno, who is a good cook. If you check his bio, yeah, he used to be a celebrity TV chef. So the first thing we need to do, day one, is try and find what we can scavenge in our house. So if we grab Roman here and we click on the hand icon, he'll start sorting through this trash and see if he can find anything. And we got some raw food, not sure how good it will be having been in a trash pile, but some herbs, a lockpick, components that we use for building stuff, they're really good. Some water which we need for cooking and also making moonshine and growing vegetables, and some wood which you use for building furniture. And the pile's disappeared there. What else have we got that we can look at? We can get Bruno to open that. Get Arica to come down here and look in that pile. More components, we've got some sugar which you use for making moonshine, and more water and wood, so that's cool. More herbs, so we've got parts, these are used for making more complex things. Sugar, water, weapon parts, now these are used for making all sorts of things from kitchen knives to more advanced weapons. One thing you notice about the game is that the survivors don't do anything unless you tell them to. So it's not quite like The Sims where they have sort of a level of autonomy, which in a way kind of makes sense with the wartime aspect, that you have very limited supplies. So there are times when you have to choose who is actually going to get to eat and who's not. So you wouldn't really want them just going of their own free will and hogging, stuffing their faces, needing everything in the fridge and leaving nothing for the person who you really want to survive because they're the best scavenger that you've got. There's a door up there that's locked. We do have a lockpick though. Let's do a bit of crafting. We can see here we've got a crafting. Just get that stuff. We've got a crafting bench here. And it's got two icons. One is the craft one on the left with the house and the spanner. The other one, that little up arrow, is the upgrade bench. As we upgrade the bench, it'll make better gear. So you can make more complex or nicer furniture, for instance. So starting out, there's a few things we can make. We definitely want to make a bed, and we can drag, and we'll put that downstairs there. And you see Arica will head down and she'll start building that. And we'll see if we can make a workbench and a shovel. And the other thing we probably need is a stove to be able to actually cook some food. So yes, we can make a metal workshop. That'll help us make tools and weapons. And these piles of rubble that you can see down here, you can clear them by hand, but it takes a very long time. It's much easier when you have a shovel to be able to clear them. And Arka's finished the bed, so there's a hand icon there that you can use the bed to make the person sleep. And no, she doesn't want any sleep at the moment. So if we look in the workbench here, we can create a shovel. Quite often you'll see the characters will have little thought bubbles that will come above their heads, and it will reflect things that have happened during the recent time in the game. It could be you know, something that's happened to somebody in the team, the way that somebody's acted, something that might have done something. I had one playthrough where one of my characters ended up killing somebody in self-defense when they were out at night scavenging gear, and the next day when they came home, everybody else in the house was in shock about the fact that this person had to kill somebody, and they had very different opinions as to some people defending them, saying I'm sure it must have been self-defense, and other people saying how could they do that. Yeah, so it's really interesting the repercussions that things have on the community. So the other thing we want to make is an oven, but we don't quite have enough components. See, we need 10 and we only have 7 to make a stove. But now that we have our shovel, we can come down here and start clearing some of these piles of rubble. Might also use... No, we don't want to unlock that one because we can get to that without it. And there you go. It's much easier with my shovel. Now one of the things you'll find is that the shovels aren't inventory specific to characters. So here you go. Now we've got Bruno up the top using the shovel, and if we try and get Roman to do it as well, he's starting to have to do it by hand because the shovel's not available. But if we jump to stop and then do it again, he gets the shovel. Now have we got enough to build? Whoop, no. Okay, so we've just hit night time, so we've gone into the night portion of the game. What you can see here is your characters that you have, how much inventory each of them can carry, and on the map you can see here the different places you can go. So this is our shelter down here. There's a shelled cottage. It has apparently got lots of food, lots of materials, lots of meds, lots of huge amount of weapons, and lots of parts. Take those with a grain of salt. When it says lots and huge, it means there might be like a couple of items. You've got a semi-detached house. There's some shots fired from there, so there might be some people with guns there that could be quite dangerous, and it says danger. Or a decrepit squat. So it's got materials, weapons and parts, but obviously no food or medicine. So we'll check out the shelled cottage. We'll take Arika because she can sneak quietly, so we'll set her to scavenge. This is a scavenger. We'll have Roman can guard the house, and Bruno can sleep in the bed. So next day, Arika and Roman will probably be quite tired, but Bruno should be refreshed to be able to do stuff around the house while the others rest. So we'll hit prepare, which will take us into the next stage. I'm just going to pause the video here because otherwise it will crash my recording. Okay, so we've got Arika here and we can fit around with some gear. So we're going to give her a lockpick and our shovel. We won't give her anything else because there doesn't sound like there's anybody to trade with where we're going. And then when we hit scavenge, it'll load us into the new map. Okay, so here we go. We've just loaded into the abandoned cottage. You can see we've got the exit on the left there, if any time we need to try and run away, there is that button that says run to exit there. So let's see what we can find. Components and wood, all useful. You can see the line of sight. Okay, so we've hit her inventory cap. So what we're going to have to do is, if we want to take anything more, we're going to have to drop stuff. But let's just have a look inside, because we can see the line of sight here. If we click the eye, she'll look through the letterbox. Yep, nobody inside. We could probably use some food. Let's see whether there's anything in the fridge that's worth taking. Yes, there's quite a bit of food, so we might have to leave some of these components behind. And we'll leave that wood behind. And we also are going to need water to make food as well. And see, this is where the game gets quite interesting, because it's all a gamble. Because I've just left behind components and wood in favour of food and water, but if I don't have enough components to be able to make my stove, then the food and water are going to be much less useful to me. So it's a real catch-22 situation when you've only got so much inventory and you've got to make decisions. Yeah, herbs and sugar, nothing there that we really need. The red dots that you could see up the top of the screen, that's where there's sound coming from. And you can see as she's digging here with the shovel, the radius, the bubble of the sound that she's creating, because it's obviously quite a noisy activity. And if you've got hostiles around you, if you're making noise, they might come and check out what you're doing. And that can be pretty bad if they're heavily armed. Jewelry, parts, all valuable stuff, but at the moment I really need that food and basic gear. So, and as you can see, bringing the lockpick, well, that took up an inventory space that really I could have used to carry something extra back. So we're just going to run back home now, and that'll be the end of day 1.